Hello everyone and welcome to the next Sports Science Chat. Today I'm going to be talking about maintaining motivation from session to session. So I'm going to discuss some ways that you can help to get motivation and keep it going throughout the whole season. So first thing I'm going to talk about is goals. So goals, by setting goals, it gives you something to aim for. If you have something to aim for, this increases your motivation as you want to work hard to achieve it. With goals, you can have short goals, medium goals and long-term goals. So short goals are often weekly goals. So this could be something as simple as turning up to sessions. It could be something like doing your stretching routine at home. So those are ones which you can tick off quite easily. And then you've got medium goals. So these are kind of monthly goals. So this might be competition ones. So as you often got them throughout the months, you can set for that. It could also be maybe knocking off a certain amount of time from your PB or something. And then you've got a long-term goal, which is often a yearly goal. And this would be the main one you want to aim for and motivate yourself towards. So for example, next year when the competition season opens up again, it might be the first national competition you want to medal in that. That's your long-term goal. Having a variety of goals, both big and small, it helps to maintain motivation, as I said, throughout the season, because the aim goal is that big long one, but you are ticking off the small ones along the way to keep that motivation high. Another thing you can do with goals is actually write them down and have them printed off with you. We're doing this with the National Performance Squad, so they have their goals printed off, laminated, and we actually have them at the pool session. So when they're not quite feeling, maybe if they're feeling tired one day or if they've had a bad day at uni or something, we give them their goals and it helps motivate them for the start of the session. Also, if they're struggling within the session, again, we just give them their goals over the edge of the pool and it reminds them what they're working towards and again increases their motivation. So something I would recommend, as I said, if you haven't already done it, is get your goals written down, get them printed out, maybe stick them on your bedroom wall, take them in the car to training to read over, have them at training itself. The coaches will always encourage this, and then you can read through them and just help motivate yourself. It's also important to set goals in all areas and not just swimming. So, for example, nutrition goals. So this might be eating your 5 a day. You could also have goals for your education, so achieving a certain grade at school or getting a certain mark on a piece of homework. And also ones like as simple as making your bed in the morning or cleaning your room at the weekends. Those are just small goals which help improve your overall motivation for everything, not just swimming. With goals, it's important that they're SMART goals. So SMART stands for specific, so that means related to what you're doing. So obviously in this case, if it's a swimming goal, it has to be related to swimming. You can't do it for cycling or running, for example. Measurable, so this means that you've got something to measure it against. So for example, time, so taking time off your PB, that's measurable. Achievable, so it has to be in reach. There's no point setting a goal. For example, if you're at, let's say, county level, you say you want to be at national level within a month. Realistically, that's probably not going to happen. It's going to take a bit longer to get there. So it's got to be achievable. Next is realistic. So again, kind of similar to achievable. Don't set a goal that's too hard or far off from where you're at, because it's just going to make it hard to achieve, and that will then demotivate you. So you want it to be in sight where you can get it to increase your motivation. And then finally, time bound. So you have to have an end date for achieving your goal. So for example, you need to set, by the end of this month, I want to do this. You can't just kind of say, I want to do it and not have any time frame for it. Next thing's positivity. So this can be quite hard. We're only human. We're not going to feel positive 100% of the time. There's many factors in our lives. You could not sleep so well, have an argument with a friend or family, get a bad result at school or something. There's loads of things which can make us feel negative and knock us down. In terms of swimming, if you've had a bad training session or race, it can make you feel pretty negative and pretty demotivated. So in terms of positivity, it's important to avoid dwelling on things that don't go to plan. I'm guilty of it myself. I do a lot of running. I've had bad runs and then it will play on my mind for the whole rest of the day and it brings me down. So the best thing to do is accept it's happened and try and move on from it as quickly as possible. Some tips for moving on from things that haven't quite gone to plan is to think about a training session or race that went really, really well. So maybe your best race to date, and just play that over in your head and just remind yourself you can do it. This is one session or one race that hasn't gone to plan. That doesn't mean all your hard work is for nothing. It just means you've had a small blip. Next time you'll get, you'll be able to do what you normally do and you'll be fine again. And just remember that to keep you positive and keep you motivated. And then when you next go training or you next go to a competition, you'll be thinking, I can do this. I've ignored the bad times. I'm thinking of the good times. This has motivated me. I'm going to do it. I can do well. Also, look back at what you've achieved so far. So I'm sure for a lot of you, especially the older athletes, you've probably been swimming for 5, 10 years, maybe even longer. And if you think back to when you first started, probably for most of you as a young child, obviously you've come a long, long way. And even probably in the past year or so, you've achieved lots of medals, maybe got some new PBs, maybe moved up a group. And, you've got to remind yourself of all these times that have gone well. And this will help to motivate you to want to achieve even more, so that then a year down the line, you can do the same and look back now and think how far you've come again. So just always remind yourself, if you're feeling demotivated, look at how far you've come and look at all your achievements so far. And this hopefully should get you motivated again. It's also quite good to choose a few people who inspire you. So this could be, if we're talking about sport, then obviously there's professional athletes, so famous people from the Olympics, but also your teammates. So you might have someone in your squad who does the same event as you and is slightly faster than you. And so you might look up to them and want to be like them. And this can help motivate you. So if it is someone from your squad, with training, maybe ask to go partner up with them or get in the same lane as them. And then hopefully that can motivate you to want to try that a bit harder, keep up with them and eventually be better than them. If it is someone who, is professional, obviously you don't know in person, then maybe watch back videos of them racing. If they've released any information on how they train, maybe watch that, read up about it. Again, this should motivate you to want to be like them and train really hard and get everything, spot on for when you go racing. Routines are also a good way to maintain motivation. So, for example, something I found is if you listen, for example, to a piece of music before you race, so before you race, if you've listened to a piece of music and you then did well in that race, it might be worthwhile listening to that same piece of music again before you next go and race or before you go and train. You'll associate that piece of music with doing really well, and that can help motivate you. So often it will be upbeat music, even just music in general for training. It's often been shown to really motivate people and get you going, get you pumped, make you want to work hard. So that could be something you might want to try out, maybe at a slightly less important competition. Try out a few songs, listen to a few playlists, see if that motivates you. If you do really well, keep hold of that, use it again on the way to training, listen to it, just get you ready and remind you of how motivated you felt. And then hopefully that will also show in training rather than just a racing situation. Also, a lot of you tend to do kind of pre-race routines, especially near the starting blocks. So before you're called up to get onto the starting blocks, some people kind of do like jumping movements, kind of warm their body up. Some people, slap themselves to get themselves warmed up, ready to go. And this is actually kind of a motivational thing because it gets you prepared to race. So it might be worth, because the coaches won't mind, but worth trying out a training. So before you get in the pool, do this same routine because you associate it with wanting to do well at races. Why not use it training just to motivate yourself and make you feel really ready to go? Finally, a thing which I think is quite important is remember to have fun. So it can be quite hard when you're basically professional athletes. You're training, some of you twice a day, you're competing really regularly, you're a high level, and it can be hard not to get completely absorbed in the world of swimming. As I say, you wake up in the morning, you go and train, you then go to school, uni, work, that sort of thing, where you can't really unwind because you're busy. And then you come and in the evening you go again to training. So it's kind of your whole life revolves around it, which is normal for an athlete, but it can be, sometimes it's important to remember to have that bit of downtime to let your mind switch off. So even if it's an hour a day, try and take that time to yourself and do something you enjoy. So this could be seeing your friends, seeing your family, playing on a computer, playing on a Xbox, something like that. Just do something to help you switch off. And then you might find when you go back to swimming or go to training, you then enjoy it a bit more because you've been able to take time away from it and switch off. And it can often then help motivation again, because you guys are literally swimming throughout the whole season. You only really get a big break at the end of a season. You might get the odd day here and there, but in terms of a big break, it's not to the end of the season. And so it can be really hard to stay motivated for that amount of time. It's one of the, swimming is one of the sports where it is a very long period of time without a big rest. So definitely each day, try and set aside, as I said, around an hour a day just to have you time, where you can then switch off and, as I said, go back to swimming and then feel motivated to do it because you've had that time away from it. And then also before a session. So again, if you can't fit this hour in immediately before a session, maybe do something. So on the way to training, again, put your favourite song on, maybe have a phone call with your friend or something, just something which is quick, 5 to 10 minutes. Again, get you in that positive mood, and hopefully that should help your motivation. Because if you turn up to a session and you're feeling tired, you're feeling bored, you're not going to be able to get motivated for it. It's going to rub off on swimming as well. So, as I said, this can be hard when you're coming straight from school, straight from college or uni, but just try and have those 5 minutes, even in the changing room, put a song on, chat to your friends, do something to switch your mind off for a second, to put you in the good mood and help you with motivation. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. Hopefully that's helped some of you get some ideas on how to motivate yourselves a bit better. I haven't had any questions come through, but if you guys have any further questions, then please add them in the comments or drop us an email. And remember to tune into Ellen's next video on Monday, and I'll be back next Wednesday. Thank you. Bye.